Alright. Uh-huh. Alright. Uh-huh. Okay. Uh-huh. Okay. Ah. Alright. Okay. Right. Okay. How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're starting Daf Mem Vav, the 46 of Masechta BavaMetzia. Friends. Today we are continuing to talk about Kinyan Chalifin, specifically about using money for Chalifin. Super interesting stuff. We started talking yesterday about the sugya of matbeya naisa Chalifin. Can the coin be like the thing that you use for the Chalifin? Like instead of a pen or a yarmulke or something, can you use a coin? Says Machlekes Rav and Levi. One opinion says yes, one opinion says no. Now, here we go. This is going to be a Gevaldige Daf. BavaMetzia is the best. Alright, let's go. So we're going to start in Daf Memheim with base, about 5 lines from the bottom. Omer Rav Pope. So says Rav Pope, Afilu mando Omer ein matbeya naise Chalifin. So even according to the opinion who says that you can't use a coin in place of a pen, okay, for Chalifin, right? When I say a pen, I mean like, for example, right, like when you go to sell your chometz, so the rabbi gives you a pen, you pick up the pen, and then he gets your chometz, right? Or at a chasana, at the chasana when with the tanoim, he picks up a pen, right? A pen is like a classic thing that's used for like kinyan chalifin, right? Ruvain picks up the pen, Shimon gets his stuff. All right, Ruvain gets a pen, Shimon gets a house. All right, great. Now the interesting thing is, I think generally in the Kinyan Chalifin you give it back, right? I wonder if that hasn't yet come up in the Gemara. I'm curious, like if where it talks about that, like when the rabbi gives you his pen, he expects that you give it back to him. So like, how does that exactly work? Because if I made a Kinyan, like what's that Kinyan kind of about? Why do you always give it back? Like when I go to sell my chometz and the rabbi gives me the pen, can I be like, yo, thanks? Like it's mine now? Like what? How does that work? Like, is it just like in general in Kinyan Chalifin, like it's just expected that like you give it back? Like, so I wonder if the Gemara is going to talk about that. But anyways, okay. Babylon. Oh gosh, darn it. So even if you hold that you can't use a coin in place of a pen, but so you can't use a coin like as the Chalifin thing, but you can acquire money via Chalifin, right? So for example, if I want to give you $1,000 as a gift, right? I can could say, look, give me your pen, and I pick up the pen, and then my money goes to you, and you just got $1,000. Good trade. I pick up a pen, you get $1,000. So you can't use the money in lieu. I think you can use in lieu. I don't really know how in lieu works. Maybe in lieu is like a Kinyan Chalifin. Yeah, in lieu is like a Chalifin thing. In lieu of maybe it's not like a Chalifin thing. Wow, I probably just confused everybody on some level. But anyways, what was I saying? You can't use money in lieu of a pen. Let's just assume that makes sense. But you can use the pen to acquire money, right? So if I want to give you $1,000, I say, look, give me a pen. I pick up the pen, you get $1,000. All right, fine. Now, so again, so Amar Papa says, even according to the opinion who says that you can't use a coin as the Chalifin thingy, okay, so you can't use money as the Chalifin thingy, but aknuye miknu ba Chalifin, but you can, right? But money can be the thing that is acquired via the Chalifin, right? One guy picks up a pen, the other guy gets money. Just like Paris, according to Rav Nachman, right? We're going to see it later on today's daf. We're going to see it on tomorrow's daf. That Rav Nachman says, right? Because of course we learn out Kinyan Chalifin from Boyaz in Sefer Rus, in Megillas Rus. And there they use the shoe. So a shoe is a vessel. So if Nachman takes that literally and says only vessels can be used for chalifin, but not peiros. Peiros is anything that isn't the vessel, not like an animal, for example. Right? An animal you can't use for a kinyan chalifin according to Rav Nachman, as it's going to come up later on in today's Gemara. But an animal can be acquired via chalifin, right? So I could say, here, give me your pen, and I pick up your pen, and now you get my cow. Right, so just like Rav Nachman says, while a cow cannot be the chalifin thingy, it can be acquired via chalifin. So oichit, money can't be the chalifin thingy, but it can be acquired via chalifin. This is the best stuff. This is the best. Right, so midahava a parallel of Nachman, just like peiros according to Rav Nachman, parallel of Nachman, because when it comes to peiros, i.e. non-kalim, according to Rav Nachman, lav, is it not that afagav de inu la'avde chalifin, even though peiros can't be the chalifin thingy, aknuye miknu ba chalifin, but you can nonetheless, you can acquire fruits via chalifin, right? You can acquire a cow via chalifin. One guy picks up a pen, the other guy gets a cow. Good trade. So tivanami, so the zelbazach by a coin. Lo shna, it's the same inyan, right? You can't use it as the chalifin thingy, but you can acquire it via chalifin. Meisvei, we have a kasha. Ho. Hoyo. Omed bagerin. If you have Ruvain, and Ruvain is in a granary, and in that granary is Meiser Sheni. Ho. Now, of course, Meiser Sheni, you can be mechal onto money. The thing is that when you're mechal ma'aser sheni onto money, you have to add a chomish. So if it's a chomish, of course, is a quarter. So if it's $100 worth of ma'aser sheni, so when you are mechal it onto money, you're not mechal it onto $100, you're mechal it onto $125. So the thing is, you can get out of it though. You can get out of it. How do you get out of it? Well, there's a loophole. If you're poda somebody else's ma'aser sheni, so then you don't have to add a chomish, you just pay face value. Oh, so now here's the thing. If I'm poda my own ma'aser sheni, so then I have to add a chomish. But if my friend is poda my ma'aser sheni, well then it would be face value. Alternatively, if I give my ma'aser sheni to my friend, also, so then I could be podet. It's no longer mine. I could be podet without adding a chomish. So there's different ways to do that. So in this scenario, so this guy he doesn't want to pay the extra chomish. Okay, so maybe we have a kasha. Oyo omer bagerin. Reuven is standing in the granary, and it just so happens to be he doesn't have any money on him. Okay, it just so happens to be he doesn't have any money on him, so he can't be podet the ma'aser sheni because he doesn't have any money. Now, of course, he doesn't want to pay the extra chomish. So Omer Lachvero, so he says to his friend Shimon, who's over there, Harei peiros halalu nesunim l'cha b'matane. Okay, I'm giving you this. I'm giving you the ma'aser sheni as a gift. Now it's your ma'aser sheni. It's no longer my ma'aser sheni. And now I, of course, don't have money on me now, but v'chozev Omer. And then Reuven says to Shimon, Harei hein mechulalin, and they are, now this ma'aser sheni that are given to you are mechulal on almo sheyesh li baboyis, on the money that I have in my house. Now, so if he would have just said, okay, I'm bechal my ma'aser sheni on the money that I have in my house, he'd have to add a chomesh. So what he does is, he gives the money to his friend as a gift, and then he's mechal it onto the money, in which case it's no longer his. And it's being put to somebody else's ma'aser sheni, so then he doesn't have to add a chomesh. Okay, fine. So now what the Gemara is going to say is that really that was shtickul b'di'evet, right? To give the ma'aser sheni to somebody else, if you're looking to get out of paying the chomesh, there's a preferable way to get out of paying the chomesh, which is give money, right? Instead of giving the ma'aser sheni to somebody else to get out of paying the chomesh, just give money to somebody else and then have that person be podeed for you with the money that you gave them. Okay, so the ma'aser sheni is still yours, but give them the money. They don't, okay, and then they'll be poda your Meiser Sheni for you, and they won't add a Chomesh. So now the thing is, in this case, he gave the Meiser Sheni to Shimon. Reuven gave it to Shimon because he didn't have any money on him. If he had money on him, he could have just given the money to Shimon and said, Shimon, be podeh my Meiser Sheni. But he didn't have money, so he couldn't do that. So now here's the question though. So what? So what that he didn't have any money on him? Cheve, ever heard of a Kinyan Chalifin? Why doesn't he just take out his pen from his pocket protector and give it to Shimon and say, Shimon, pick up my pen, right? No, Fakert. He says, Shimon, you have a pen in your pocket protector. Give me the pen and I'll give you my money. And then Shimon would acquire the money via Chalifin. And now it's Shimon's money. Shimon can be, and then Shimon can say, okay, this Reuven's Meiser Sheni is mechulal on the money, on this money that was just Chalifined over to me. The shayla is, why don't we say that? You know why we don't say it? Because money cannot be acquired by a Chalifin, because if it could have been, then Reuven would have done that. Okay, I just did a lot of explaining outside. Maybe I could have read it inside, but that's exactly what the Gemara is going to say. Okay. So so let's start from the beginning. Meisi we have a kasha. Oyo omi bageren. Reuven standing in a granary, and in the granary there's Meiser Sheni, and he doesn't want to be poded the Meiser Sheni himself, because then he has to add a Chomesh, so he wants Shimon to be poded for him. Vein bi'adamos, he doesn't have any money. So because he doesn't have any money, so he can't give the money to Shimon, so instead he gives the Meiser Sheni to Shimon. Omela Chavero, so Reuven says to Shimon, Harei Peris alalu nusunum l'chab matone. I am giving you the Meiser Sheni as a gift. V'cho zeve omer. And then Reuven says, Harei hein, the Meiser Sheni that I just gave you, and it's your Meiser Sheni, is mechulol almos sheyesh li babayis, are now mechulol, the kedusha is being transferred on to the money that I have in my house, and because now Reuven's betzim being podeh Shimon's Meiser Sheni, so he doesn't need to pay the Chomesh. Now, Taima, the reason why Reuven gave the Meiser Sheni to Shimon rather than giving money to Shimon is the ein biyadamos, because he doesn't have any money. That would have been preferable to just give Shimon money, but he didn't have money on him. But if Reuven would have had money on him, liknei lehu leidach b'mashicha, so then preferably he would have given the money, the cash, to Shimon. Shimon would have acquired the money b'mashicha. He would have picked it up, and now it belongs to Shimon. Ufarik, and then Shimon can be podeh Reuven's Meiser Sheni for him without the Chomesh. D'hachi adif. That would be preferable than giving the Meiser Sheni to Shimon. Davlei Nochri, because Shimon would be, somebody unconnected to the Meiser Sheni, and he would be podeh. He would be podeh Reuven's Meiser Sheni, and he wouldn't have to add the Chomesh. But now here's the kicker. Here is the kicker. We just made the whole argument, I think, as I said a few minutes ago, that Reuven couldn't give any money to Shimon because he didn't have any cash on him. Here's the kicker. If money could be acquired by a Chalifin, who cares? He must have had a pen on him. And if you say that you can acquire money via Kinyan Chalifin, niknu le'mos le'ayach agav sudr. Why, if money could be acquired by a Chalifin, then Reuven should have taken out a pen. No, fakert. Reuven should have said, Shimon, take your pen out of your pocket protector, give it to me. I'll pick it up, and then you can have my money. And then we could be podeh my Meiser Sheni onto the money that I just gave you without the Chomesh. And therefore, from the fact that apparently Reuven could not do that, it must mean that money cannot be acquired via Chalifin, because if it could, then he would have done it. And for the Gemara, you know what? I can argue that money can be acquired via Chalifin. Why didn't they do it? They didn't have epis. They didn't have a pen. They didn't have a yarmulke. They didn't poshut have clothing. They were standing there naked in the granary. Delays le suder. There was pashit. No, there was nothing to make a kinyan suder with, to make a kinyan chalifin with. Okay, fine. You know what? Fine. They're standing naked in the granary. Fine. V'nikninu niya le'agav karke. Okay, so I have a different option then, separate, nothing to do with chalifin, but the Gemara still asks, fine, they're standing naked in the granary. I have a different idea. Reuven has money at home. Why doesn't he say to Shimon, I'm gonna gift you a shtickle karka, a shtickle property. Bikona the property via chazaka, dig epis. Put a fence around it, whatever it is. And then, as we know, that by way of, as we know from Masechta Kiddushin, maybe from Bava Kama also, maybe that I think Davka, this sugi was in Bava Kama, I think. Where was this? We saw this. It's going to come up a little bit late in a few minutes. Mamish in like a minute. What? Yeah, Bava Kama Kuf Daled. Anyways, so Reuven could have given Shimon some property, and then when Shimon takes ownership of the property, he can also take ownership of mitaltlin, in this case, money. So why didn't Reuven do that? Where am I? Agav karke. Delays le karke. Well, Reuven doesn't have any property. But what do you mean? We said he's in a granary. He doesn't own the granary. He's using it, but he doesn't own it. But now, frek the Gemara. One second. So you really expect me to believe? You really expect me to believe that money can be acquired via chalifin? The only reason why they didn't do it in this case is because the mamish both standing there naked in a granary. That's why. The Mishnah really is teaching me a halacha in a situation when you have two people standing in a granary that doesn't belong to them and they're trying to get out of Meiser Sheni. This is what the Mishnah is teaching me about? No, it isn't. No, shmamino. They're not, it's not talking about two naked people standing in a granary. It's talking about two clothed people standing in a granary who cannot acquire money via chalifin because money cannot be acquired via chalifin. And even Rav Papa, who started out, right, we began today's daf with Rav Papa, who says that even though money cannot be the chalifin thingy, but it can be acquired via chalifin, Rav Papa actually also retracted to say that money cannot be acquired via chalifin. Rav Papa, like the incident with Rav Papa that we've seen in Bava Kama, Havule Tracer Alfe Dinre Bechozoi, he had 12,000 coins by the Chozoi, and he wanted to get them back. Now he wasn't traveling to Bechozoi, but Akninu Rav Shmuel Bar Acha. So Rav Shmuel Bar Acha was going there. So he says, "Hey, Rav Shmuel Bar Acha, can you pick up my 12,000 coins for me?" But in order to make sure that the people Bechozoi would give the 12,000 coins to Rav Shmuel Bar Acha, he gave them to him as a gift. So now Rav Papa is, I don't know where they live, in Narish or something. The money is in Bechozoi, and Rav Papa gave the money to Rav Shmuel Bar Acha as a gift. So now Rav Shmuel Bar Acha owns the money so that he can say, hey, when he goes to Bechozoi, he could say, hey, I've come to pick up my money. Rav Papa gave me the money, it's mine. I've come to pick it up, and that way they'll give it to him because, if it still belongs to Rav Papa, they'll be concerned, what if something happens to it on the way, then they'll be on the line. But once it's already given to Rav Shmuel Bar Acha, so then they're giving it to the owner. So how did, right? So again, Rav Papa is where he lives. I think maybe in Irish, and the money is in Bechozai. How did Rav Papa transfer the money to Rav Shmuel Bar Acha? Agav asipa de beise. He gave. Wait, what's this? Is this? Oops. He gave it, 1 second. Okay. he gave it. So he transferred the money to Rav Papa Rav Papa transferred the money to Rav Shmuel Bar Acha by giving him a shtickle karke, and then once Rav Shmuel Bar Acha takes ownership of the karke, he can take ownership of the 12,000 coins. So we see that Rav Papa Davka gave him the shtickle property in order to transfer the money to him. It would have been much easier for him for him to just say to Shmuel Bar Acha, look, can you take out a pen, give me the pen, and I'll give you the money. Right? If he could have done a kinyan chalifin, that would have been easier than giving him property. But so kiyosa nafak laipi ad tovech, and when Rav Shmuel Bar Acha came back with his 12,000 zuz, Rav Papa went out to greet him. He was very happy to see him with the 12,000 zuz. But the reason why, right, it would have been easier. So okay, we start off the daf by saying that according to Rav Papa, money can be acquired by a chalifin. If that's the case, then it would have been much easier for him to transfer the money to Rav Shmuel Bar Acha via a kinyan chalifin. Why didn't he do that? It must be that even Rav Papa also changed opinions to hold that money cannot be acquired via chalifin. Okay, so now. We started off this whole sugya yesterday with the machlokas between Rav and Levi about can a coin be used as the chalifin thingy. One opinion says yes, the other opinion says no. V'chein Amar Ula says Ula ein matbea naise chalifin. A coin cannot be the chalifin thingy. V'chein Amar Reb Asi, and so says Reb Asi, ein matbea naise chalifin. A coin cannot be the chalifin thingy. V'chein Amar Rab Bar Bachana Amar B'Yechanan ein matbea naise chalifin. And also Rab Bar Bachana says name of Yochanan that a coin cannot be the chalifin thingy. Okay. Did I just get bit by a mosquito? I really hope not. Any mosquito fans at Babylon Talmud? Any mosquito fans at Babylon Talmud? Eizvei Reb Abba le'ula. However, Reb Abba asks a kasha to Ula. Harishahaya chamarav ufei'alav tovin oisoi bashuk. Alright, so you have a guy, he's an employer, and he employs workers, he employs donkey drivers, and it's payroll time, and he needs to pay them. So so his donkey drivers and his workers are approaching him in Shuk Machne Yehuda and saying, hey, we need to get paid. So he says to one of the money changers over there, Tain li bedinar maos, give me a dinar's worth of copper coins, va'afar nesem, so that I could pay for payroll, va'ani ele lecha, and I will, give you back, I will return the money to you, Mr. Money Changer. Yafed dinar vitrisis mimoshe yeshli bebesi. Interesting. And I will return to you the dinar plus a little bit more. I have this money in my house, I just don't have it on me right now. Just give me a dinar now so that I can pay these people. And at home I have a dinar, I'll give you a dinar and even a little bit more. So now, I think everybody might be wondering, wait, isn't that interest? So we're going to get the next parak that we're going to learn in about 3 weeks. I think we're going to get there. 3 weeks? 2 weeks, I think we're going to get there. Called Ezu Neshech. I'm very intimidated by Ezu Neshech. It talks about interest. Interest seems like a very tricky concept. But so we're going to learn about interest. We're going to learn about interest. So Rashi points out, if I understand correctly, the inyan with interest is what interest is that it's, if Shimon lends Reuven $1,000, and obviously the expectation is Reuven's going to spend that $1,000, and Shimon says, okay, in 6 months from now, pay me back $1,100. So the reason why that would be interest is because Shimon is charging Reuven for the fact that he had to wait around for it, right? Meaning he's giving him $1,000 now and he's only going to get it back in 6 months from now because Shimon had to wait around for it, so he's adding more money. That would be interest. In this case, Shimon doesn't have to wait around at all because Reuven has the money, right? Meaning the employer who goes to the money changer and says, hey, I just need some money quick to make payroll, but I have money at home. I'll go home and I'll bring back not just what you gave me, but a little bit more than that. That would not be interest because it's not like a loan where he's spending the money and then it's going to take time to have to pay him back. That's where there's kind of interest. But over here where he has the money, it's a different story. He's just going to go home and get it for him. So im yesh lo mos. Again, that's that might be a way oversimplification, but we're going to get to the laws of interest very, very soon. Im yesh lo mos. So if in fact this employer does have the money at home, so mutter, so that's okay. So beseder, he goes home and he gets the money, he can pay him back, sort of the dinar and a little bit more. The imlav osir. But if he doesn't have the money, then it's going to be osir. I think the point is that it's going to be osir because of ribis. As it's not a chalifin. Okay. Rashi says, "Emesh bebeso osen moshu omer muter kasaka daite gerentes umain dechevim de yeshlo havlu chalifin." That if he has it, then it becomes a kinyan chalifin deichlif elu beelu. But if he doesn't, then it's not a kinyan chalifin, and I think the point is that it would be a problem of interest. So where am I? So mutter. So if this employer has the money at home, I don't know what I just said, but if he has the money at home, so then it's mutter, it's permitted. If he doesn't have the money at home, also it's not allowed. Now Now the assumption is that the reason how this works is that when this employer takes the money from the money changer, so he's koneh the money, bichalifin, so he gets the money, and then the money that he has at home belongs to the money changer. Now, where am I? But if you think that money cannot be the chalifin catalyst, the chalifin thingy, well then havile halva. Well, if that's the case, then there is no kinyan chalifin over here, and it's just a loan, ve'osr, and that should not be allowed because it should be interest, if I understand correctly. So the only way that this brisa makes sense is apparently if you say that that money can be used as the chalifin thingy. And therefore this employer is taking the money, and punct, when he takes the money, his money now belongs to the money changer. So we see then that money can be used as the chalifin thingy. Ishtik, and Ula was a shtickle stumped, but not for long. Amarle, then Ula says, you know what? Dilma idi ve'idi befrutotis shanu. Dileko alayu tiva. But maybe actually we're not talking about money here. Maybe we're talking about prutatos. I don't really know. I don't know. Prutatos are like copper coins, right? Just like an asimon, I think we talked about, is like a silver coin that hasn't been minted yet. So it's just like a round piece of silver. So that is what a prutatos are for copper coins. So he wasn't actually borrowing money, he was borrowing like unminted copper or something. I don't know why he can pay his people with that, but okay, that's what he was doing. And they're considered to be peiris rather than ma'os. They're not considered money, they're considered things that can be niknin b'chalifin, umishumachi niknu b'chalifin. That is why they're able to be acquired b'chalifin, because it isn't actually money, it's considered peiris. Omar lei, to which Reb Abba, who asked the question, Taka says yes, you're right. Dekanami, you can also infer like this. Dekatani yofe dinner v'trisar. It says the equivalent of a dinner utrisar. V'lokatani dinner yofe utrisar. It doesn't say a dinner and a little bit more than that, right? It doesn't say that he requested a dinar from the money changer. It says yofe dinar, the equivalent of a dinar, but really we were talking about these unminted copper pieces, and that's why they can be nicknamed by Khalifin Shmamina. So that's what it's talking about. Rav Ashi Omer says, Rav Ashi l'olam b'damu frutatos. Okay, Rav Ashi says, yes, I agree that we're talking about these unminted copper. However, I agree that we're talking about unminted copper. However, where I disagree is that the employer was not acquiring it via Khalifin, rather came to Islay. Since he has it at home, it can even be a loan that he took from the money changer, because Naise Ka'omer Halveni ad sheyovo bni o ad she'emtso mafteach. It's like the scenario where a person says, and we're going to get to this later and understand it better a little bit later, I think, but where somebody says, lend me, I think that was talking about like some wheat or something. Lend, because we said you can't lend wheat for wheat because we have to worry about interest. But if he says, lend me some wheat, I have it at home, I just need to wait for my son to get home, or I just need to get my key, but in the meantime, can you lend me some wheat? In that case, it would be okay. So here also with the unminted coins, since we're talking about Paris over here, and he's saying that he has it at home, so therefore it is acceptable even as a loan. It doesn't necessarily have to be by Khalifin. Tashma coming here. Kol anaise domim be'acher. Something that can be basically used as value. Kivin shezocho zeh nischayev zeh ba'chalifin. Kol anaise dom be'acher ma'niu matbeya. V'shmamin matbeya naise chalifin. So we want to assume that we're talking about a coin over here. So let's read that in, assuming that we're talking about a coin. So again, Tashma coming here, kol naise dom ba'acher, something that could be used as value, a coin. Okay. So kevin shezocho zeh nischayev zeh ba'chalifin. Right? So let's say Reuven is buying Shimon's cow. Okay, let's say Reuven is buying Shimon's cow. So Reuven is buying Shimon's cow. So Reuven can give Shimon a coin. Shimon picks up the coin, and now his cow belongs to Reuven. They make a barter, they make a swap. Reuven gives Shimon a coin, Shimon picks it up, and the cow now belongs to Reuven. So again, kol anaise dom ba'acher, anything that can be used as value, a coin. Once Shimon picks up the coin, the cow now immediately belongs to Reuven. I hope I got Reuven and Shimon right. I hope. Shimon's got the cow, Reuven's buying it. I hope that's what we said. So Reuven gives Shimon a coin, Shimon picks up the coin. The cow now Memela belongs to Reuven, and if anything happens to the cow, right? Reuven is now chayev if anything happens to the cow that he acquired via Khalifin. So kol anaise dom be'acher, I knew what is this thing that could be used as value as the Khalifin thingy? Matbeya, a coin, v'shmamina matbeya naise Khalifin. So can't we say, don't we see from here that a coin can be used as the Khalifin thingy? Rav Yehuda says no, this does not prove that coins can be used as that a coin can be used as the Khalifin thingy. Kol anishom domim be'acher, rather says Rav Yehuda that something that can be evaluated as value be'acher, something that can be evaluated as value, meaning, for example, like a cow, right? A cow, you could potentially use a cow as payment, right? I could say, hey, I have a cow. Can I pay you by giving you my cow? Meaning, we evaluate the value of the cow, and a cow could be used as payment. So we're not talking about money. We're talking about things that could be evaluated and then used as payment. Right? Something that could be evaluated as something that can be given as value, right, as payment for something else. So then, if you want to use something like a cow for Khalifin, So then once, so let's say in this case, Reuven has a cow and Shimon has a donkey, and they want to make a barter, they want to make a swap, right? So Shimon can go to Reuven's house, give a tug to his cow. Who's who? Shimon's got a donkey, Reuven's got a cow. They want to switch. So Shimon goes to Reuven's house, gives a pull to Reuven's cow, and now Reuven owns Shimon's donkey. Something that can be used as value somewhere else. For example, a cow. Once Shimon gives a tug to the cow, Reuven now owns the donkey, and if anything happens to the donkey, it's Reuven's, it's his problem. And this taka makes sense to say that we're talking about animals, for example, right? They're not talking about money, that we're talking about payers, things that can be used as value. Midikatani Seifa, because the Mishnah that Kedushin, the Mishnah in Kedushin, I think. Right, it's a Mishnah in Kedushin, I think. That Midikatani Seifa, they continue, sorry, Babylon. Midikatani Seifa, that it then continues, Keitzad, tell me more, how does this work with this, thing that could be used as value, Chalifin? Well, Hechlif Shor Bipar, if you swapped a ox for a cow, or Chomer B'Shor, or a donkey for an ox, right? It's like the example I gave, although the example I gave isn't quite, I was talking about a donkey and a cow. Over here, the options are a cow and an ox, or a donkey and an ox. I said a donkey and a cow, but I think the donkey and the cow would work just fine. So, so Shimon gives a tug on Reuven's cow, and Reuven now owns Shimon's donkey. Shmamina, so there you go. It's not talking about money being used as the chalifin thingy. It's talking about cows and things, payers. And that which we thought initially to say that it's talking about money being used as the chalifin thingy, well then, my Ketzad, how do you understand the Seifa of the Mishnah where it starts describing not money being used as the chalifin thingy, but animals being used as the chalifin thingy? So clearly we're not talking about using money as the chalifin thingy. So what were we thinking initially? So Achika Amar, this is how we would have initially explained the Mishnah. Ufere nami abde chalifin, and in addition to using money as the chalifin thingy, you can use peiris oichet as the chalifin thingy. Ketzad, how so? Hechlif shor b'paro, chomer b'shor. If you barter a ox for a cow, or a donkey for an ox, okay, fine. Now, the fact that we just talked about using animals as the chalifin thingy, so that obviously means that the Mishnah is saying that animals can in fact be used as the chalifin thingy. But as we mentioned earlier, Rav Nachman would not agree with that. Rav Nachman says, kelim, vessels, are what you need. A pen, right? A vessel is what you need to be the chalifin thingy, not an animal, not Paris. So Anichal Rav Sheshes, this makes sense according to Rav Sheshes, Damar Peri Avdei Chalifin, who says that you can use Paris for chalifin, such as a cow. El Rav Nachman, Damar Kli in Aval Peri Lo Avdei Chalifin. But what about according to Rav Nachman, who says that fruits cannot be used for chalifin, animals cannot be used for chalifin? Then how does he understand this Mishnah, which is talking about animals being used for chalifin? So my case said, how does he understand the Sefer of the Mishnah that talks about animals being used for chalifin? Hachi ka'amar. Thus is how Rav Nachman explains the Mishnah. Yesh domim shehein kachalifin. Ketzad ichlif dmei shor b'poreh or dmei chomer b'shor. My time of Nachman Tzov l'Reb Yochanan, the Amr Dvar Torah Mos Konis M'pnei Ma'omer Mashiach Kona Gezer Shem Yomar Lo Nisfu Chitecha Ba'aliyah U'Milsa D'Shchicha Gazu Be'Rabbanon Milsa D'Shchicha Lo Gazu Be'Rabbanon. Shnaikis. Cheva, where to start? Where to start? Where to start? this is where we're going to start. 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 Wow. This is going to be a mission. So much so that I'm going to pause the video for a second. Wow. There are so many layers to what we just learned. There's like a bunch of layers. There's a machlokas between Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish about kinyan midoraisa. There's a concept that we've learned about in the past. I think at least twice. The concept of nisafu chitecha b'aliyah. And then that is all to get back to the opinion of Rav Nachman and how he understands this Mishnah. Let us start with the machlokas between Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish about kinyanim. We're going to learn about it, I think, maybe tomorrow. Rabbi Yochanan says that midoraisa, money can make a kinyan. Midoraisa, right? We've been talking about since the beginning of Perek Hazov that a guy walks into a gold store and he says, "I want to buy gold." If he gives his silver money to the goldmonger and the goldmonger picks up the silver, we said that it's not a kinyan yet. It's not a kinyan until the purchaser picks up the gold, right? That's what we've been saying. According to Rabbi Yochanan, that's not true. According to Rabbi Yochanan, mida oraisa, money is koneh. Mida oraisa, when the buyer gives the money to the goldmonger and the goldmonger picks up the money and he owns, and now it's his money, the purchaser owns the kinyan's done. It's now the purchaser's gold. Or if I go to a pizza shop and I haven't yet picked up the pizza, but I already paid the pizza monger, it's my pizza now. So that's mida oraisa. Okay. Kind of in a certain sense, maybe it would have made sense to start with Rish Lakish because there's more to Rabbi Yochanan's thing. Because then why do we say no? I think we'll get back to that. First, I just want to explain Rish Lakish, then we'll get back to Rabbi Yochanan. Rish Lakish disagrees and says, no way, no how. When I go to the pizza shop and I give money to the pizza monger, that means absolutely nothing. Midoraisa means absolutely nothing. It's the Meshicha. It's when I pick up the pizza, that is when the kinyan happens. That's when I own it, according to Rish Lakish. Okay, so money is nothing. The Meshicha is what you need. So now back to Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan says that midoraisa, when I pay the pizza monger, it's my pizza now. Even though I haven't picked it up yet, I pay the pizza monger, it's my pizza midoraisa. So why do we say don't do that? Why do we say that the kinyan happens when I pick up the pizza? Because we're concerned about the concept of nisafu chitecha ba'aliyah. We've seen this before. That if a person goes to buy wheat, okay, a guy goes, he buys 10 kilos of wheat, and he pays the wheat monger. It's $100. He pays $100 to the wheat monger, and now he owns 10 kilos of wheat. Now, mida oraisa, he paid the wheat monger. The buyer, the purchaser, owns the wheat. The thing is, he hasn't picked it up yet. And maybe he says, you know what, Mr. Wheatmonger, can I leave my wheat? I'm going to leave my wheat with you. I own it, it's mine, but I'm going to leave it with you, and I'll pick it up another time. A fire breaks out. There's no incentive for the wheatmonger to save this wheat. It's not his. Why should he be most in efforts to save the buyer's wheat? It's the buyer's wheat now. The buyer already paid him. It's not his. The loss isn't going to be his. So he's not going to be most in efforts to save the wheat. So therefore, in order to prevent such a scenario, we say, you know what? Even though mida oraisa, when the purchaser gives the money to the wheatmonger, he owns the wheat at that point. But we say, you know what? The kinyan really only happens once he takes it. That way, so long as the purchaser has not taken his wheat, technically, it still belongs to the wheatmonger. And if it increases in value, technically the wheatmonger can say to the purchaser, forget it, I changed my mind, I don't want the sale to happen because the purchaser hasn't yet made a kinyan Mashiach yet. So the wheat monger, if it goes up in value, he could potentially say, you know what, I changed my mind, I don't want to sell it. And then he has incentive to save the wheat in the event of a fire. So therefore, so according to Rabbi Yochanan, Mida Oraise, money is koneh, but we're concerned that if money is koneh, well then, if the buyer then doesn't actually then take it, well then we'll be concerned about nisifu chitecha ba'aliyah. Okay. That is all to get to the case of Rav Nachman. Rav Nachman says that Paris cannot be used in a kinyan chalifin. Right? Animals cannot be used in a kinyan chalifin. The example that I had given earlier, Reuven has a cow, Shimon has a donkey. Shimon goes to Reuven's cow, gives a tug to Reuven's cow. Now Reuven owns Shimon's donkey. According to Rav Nachman, that doesn't work because cows and donkey, a cow can't be used as the chalifin thingy. According to Rav Nachman. So then how does he explain the Mishnah? The Mishnah seems to be assuming that cows can be used as the chalifin thingy, and oxen and donkeys. This is how Rav Nachman explains the Mishnah. He says, you know what it's talking about? It's talking about Reuven has an ox. Givaldik. Shimon buys that ox. No kinyan chalifin, a regular kinyan. Shimon says to Reuven, you have an ox. I am interested in buying your ox. Reuven says, fine, $1,000. Shimon says, Givaldik, $1,000 sounds great. Shimon goes to Reuven's ox, gives it a tug. It now belongs. Shimon goes to Reuven's ox, gives it a tug. It now belongs to Shimon. Shimon now needs to pay Reuven $1,000. Shimon then says to Reuven, how about this? Instead of paying you $1,000, I have a cow. The cow is $1,000. Would you be interested in my cow? And Reuven says, sure, that sounds good. So, be'etzem, here's the thing. Shimon owed Reuven $1,000. Shimon owed Reuven $1,000. Reuven is acquiring Shimon's cow by basically, with that money that he's owed, right? Shimon owes Reuven $1,000. Reuven is basically acquiring Shimon's cow with those $1,000 that he's saying, keep the $1,000, I'm going to use that to buy your cow from you. So basically, Reuven is acquiring Shimon's cow with money. So again, what's the case? Shimon had just bought Reuven's ox. Shimon therefore owed Reuven $1,000. Shimon says to Reuven, hey, instead of paying you $1,000, do you want my cow? Reuven says, yes, I do. Instead of paying me $1,000, I'm going to use those $1,000 to buy your cow from you. And now the cow belongs to Reuven. So Reuven acquired Shimon's cow with money. And Rav Nachman holds like Rabbi Yochanan, who says that you can acquire things mida oraise with money. But the rabbi said, don't do that because we're concerned about the scenario of nisifu chitecha ba'aliyah. But the rabbis only say that in common scenarios, like going to Shuk Machne Yehuda and buying from, a bread monger, a wheat monger, or whatever. That's the common case. As you can imagine, the case of Shimon buying Reuven's ox and then saying, instead of me paying you money, why don't you take my cow? And then he says, sure, and he mows that's a less common thing, and the rabbis didn't make the gzera there. So therefore, in that case, Reuven, it's no problem. Reuven can acquire Shimon's cow with money. So, Back in the Gemara. So Rav Nachman, so according to Rav Nachman, the Amar Kli in Aval Pere Lo, that only vessels can be used to, right, as the Chalifin thingy, but not fruits. Well then, Aval Pere Lo Avdi Chalifin, my Ketzad, how does Rav Nachman explain the Mishnah that talks about animals being used for Chalifin? So Hachi Ka'amar, this is how to explain the Mishnah according to Rav Nachman. Yesh domim shehin kachalifin. You can have money, the $1,000 that Shimon owes Reuven in this case, shehin kachalifin, that can be a valid kinyan, just like chalifin are. What is this money that is a valid kinyan, just like chalifin? Ketzad, how is this? Well, hechlif demei shor bipare. If the $1,000 that Shimon had to pay Reuven for his ox, Reuven decided to spend that $1,000 to buy Shimon's cow from him, or if the same thing was between a donkey and an ox, so that is the scenario that the Mishnah is talking about. My time of Rav Nachman. Why does Rav Nachman say that works? So Reb Yochanan, because he holds like Reb Yochanan, Torah, who says midoraisa mos konis, midoraisa money can be kona, and therefore Reuven is being kona Shimon's cow with $1,000 with money. So if midoraisa money is kona, then why do the rabbis say that money is not kona and instead do a kinyan meshicha? Because gezerah shema yomarlo nisfuchi techa ba'aliyah. We're concerned about the situation with the wheat monger, that if the purchaser gives him money, and if the wheat now belongs to the purchaser, even though he hasn't done a kinyan meshicha, and then there's a fire, and then the wheat monger has no incentive to save it. So that is why the Chacham say that the kinyan only happens once the purchaser actually takes it. But the rabbis only made this gezerah that money does not work as a kinyan, that gezerah is only by common acquisitions. But less common scenarios, the rabbis did not make gezerahs about those. The rabbis did not make gezerahs about those, and therefore you can be kona with the money. Where am I? So Musa the Shchicha gazu be'Rabbanim, Musa the Lo Shchicha lo gazu be'Rabbanim. Ul Rish Lakish. Now what about according to Rish Lakish, right? We just said that Rav Nachman holds like Rabbi Yochanan. How would Rish Lakish, who says that money does not, right, is not a kinyan at all. So if Rish Lakish holds like Rav Nachman, that you cannot use Paris for a kinyan chalifin, and money is not koneh midoraisa, well then how would he explain the Mishnah with the cows and chalifin and stuff? Well, Rish Lakish the Omer Mishicha mifareshes min Torah. According to Rish Lakish, who says that midoraisa money is not koneh midoraisa, you need a kinyan mishicha. So anicha yisavala. Rav Sheshes, okay, so if he holds like Rav Sheshes that Paris can be used for Chalifin, so that's how he understands the Mishnah, that it's talking about Paris being used for Chalifin. Mitaris like Rav Sheshes, Seder. Eli Yisrael like Rav Nachman, but if he holds like Rav Nachman that Paris cannot be used for Chalifin, and he also does not hold that money can be used for a kinyan, right? And also matbeya lo kani eichim mitaritzla. Then how can Rish Lakish then explain the Mishnah? Al korchek Rav Sheshes mitaritzla. Clearly, then Rav Nachman must hold. Clearly, then Rish Lakish must hold like Rav Sheshes when it comes to chalifin, that Paris can be used for chalifin, and therefore he explains the Mishnah that is just talking about making a kinyan chalifin with different kinds of animals and things. Tanan, we learned in a Mishnah called Metaltalin Konin Ze that all, so we learned in our Mishnah that all metaltalin, all movable objects can be kona each other. V'amar Rish Lakish v'afilu kis malimos b'kis malimos. And Rish Lakish says even a sack, a wallet, something filled with coins can be swapped for another one filled with coins. I.e., it sounds like a kinyan chalifin being done with money. Tigmer Ravacha says no. Bedina anko v'anigra. It's talking about different money that is that is invalid. So therefore, it is an actual currency. Echad shepasalto malchus v'echad shepasalto medina. One of these bags of money was possible because the king said that it can't be used anywhere in the kingdom. And one of them, the state, had said that these currency is no longer accepted. We need both about the kingdom and about the state. If we would only know about the scenario where the kingdom made it invalid, I would say, okay, so it's not considered money because if the kingdom makes it invalid, it can't be used anywhere in the kingdom. But if only the state made it possible, the sagile b'medina achrise, where you could still use these coins in other states, then I might think, well, that would still be considered a coin since it's usable in other states and it cannot be used for chalifin. So therefore, we have to teach that no, even those can be used for chalifin. They can use for chalifin because they're not considered coins. If we only had the scenario of the state, because when the state invalidates a coin, nobody uses it at all, not for anything. When the kingdom makes it possible, that people still end up using it in private. So I might think that it's still considered a coin. And coins cannot be used for chalifin. Therefore, we need both of them to say that in both scenarios, whether it's been invalidated by the kingdom or by the state, they cannot. They are not considered coins, and they can be used for chalifin. Wow, Cheved, that was daf Mem Vav of Masechta BavaMetzia, another awesome daf. We started off by saying that. Right, so we're in the middle of this machlokas, this discussion about can you use coins as the chalifin thingy. One opinion says yes, the other one says no. We seem to be saying basically that coins cannot be used as the chalifin thingy. And initially, Rav Papa wanted to say that, okay, so you can't use coins as the chalifin thingy, but you can acquire money via chalifin. But we ended up saying no, that doesn't seem to be the case either. Very, very interesting stuff. Along the way, we learned about the machlokas Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish about how exactly kinyanim work midoraisa. We're going to get into that more. Lots of stuff on daf Mem Vav, I think, of Masechta BavaMetzia. We will catch you tomorrow for daf Mem Zayin, another great daf. All the dafs of BavaMetzia are incredible so far. Peace out.